Hello, hello. We are back. Would you believe it? We are back. I am sorry that I was absent, but work was it was horrible. So much to do, so little time, and you know how it goes. Hello, hello. Um, well, I was thinking about the string arms, and I will try one more iteration. If it doesn't work, we move on. I mean, I'm keeping this, so I'm not gonna disassemble it, and I'm gonna try one more variant. Um, and if it's not working, we're gonna keep working on the chassis. Okay. I should have, but there was no time because there was several days that I came home like at 9 in the evening from work, of course. So I was exhausted. There was simply no energy in me to work on engines and or stream. I mean, I was just flat. I had to recharge a little bit. But now I'm okay. Things at work have calmed down, and I'm gonna do the two engines I have to do. We're gonna feature them in the car, and all of that. And now that there will be holidays, so I don't know. Maybe we can have a stream every day, whatever. I mean, I'm gonna build Lego every day, so why not stream it, right? Okay. Where was I? I mean, it's not like any of us is gonna go anywhere during the holidays. Build it? What? Yeah, right. No, I didn't know. I didn't do shit this week. I'm sorry. I mean, I was just overwhelmed by everything. Mm, okay. Now, my idea was that we would actually go from here. So from the center. See where we end up with. So basically, we would go like here, something like that. Not sure this is a good idea or not. Maybe it's crap. Let's see how much we can fail. Okay, one of the options is this, and one of the options maybe this. Let's see what the clearance is. No, that's not gonna clear anything. This may, yeah, this is gonna clear. It's gonna clear stuff. Maybe. No. Nope. So the original idea that I had will have to be implemented. So my original idea, of course, was was this. I mean, this something to do with either this or this. No, I wanted the everything here to be a little bit slimmer with the same stiffness. So that's what I want to explore. And we, of course, need the same geometry, but I want, well, same geometry, but different outcome, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I see the need to do a jig of sorts. Otherwise, I'm gonna just like this, like this. Yep. And we need something like this, okay, to hold everything in place while we can reposition stuff, I guess. And, well, you know, play with it. Okay. You know what? That's not worth it. It's not worth it. This works well enough. So let's basically engineer the attachment points for the springs on it. Yeah, we should focus our energy on this rather than try to reinvent hot water, because this isn't going to give us any useful results, in my opinion. Okay, so let's see where the springs can mount. I'm gonna attach the wheel on one side only, so that I know where the limits are, and then we are gonna experiment here. The buggy's caster angle actually isn't intentional from Lego, but I would say it's more intentional of a way that they with this they mimicked the caster of the actual remote control buggies. But my biggest problem with the buggy is that the springs are so hard that there's basically no suspension on the car. So when you see Sariel's video of him driving the car, the springs are not compressing at all. At no point in his video are the springs compressing. Just not even a tiny bit. So the buggy basically does not have any suspension. If the springs were softer, yes, but as it is now, absolutely not. There's no suspension neither in the rear or in the front. So it's useless basically. Okay. Okay, so the way I see it here, and let me just recall some pictures of the real Sierra, how it's done there, because I kind of forgot. Okay. Let's see, how is the shock absorber mounted? Okay, let me just get a shock. So, there is a shock absorber in the real Sierra that is mounted to the rear. It's mounted kinda here-ish, definitely behind the steering axle. Great. Just a second. So, the shock absorber should be mounted like something like this, you know, something like this. Something, yeah. Let's see how we would best mount it. Like this, probably like this, because the movement left and right, yeah, but it's gonna be quite significant. Interesting. Interesting. Let me. Oh, come on. I don't have any better pictures of this. No, really. Well, but it's mounted front to back, the way I see it. Here. That's apparently how the shock is mounted on the real car. So not quite squared as we would have it, but not quite longitudinal either. I think this calls for a ball joint. This calls for a bionicle ball joint connection here, you know, so that we have the freedom to go either way. The problem with the bionicle ball joint connection is we would put it here, of course. The problem with this is that if we have an axle here, this is probably gonna happen. The other way would be to mount it here and use this just, you know, as a crutch. Oh, Christian sent me something. Let's see. What did Christian send me? Where is it? Oh, I need to mute my notifications, otherwise this is gonna be just horrible. Let's see. Maybe. That's That's cool. I haven't thought about it. That's cool. Let me just remember where I have these pieces. Where are they? I know I have them. Yes. That's cool. That's actually a very good idea. Okay. So what Christian suggested, of course, a very good idea. We ditch this and replace it with this. I forgot I had it. We need to, re-engineer this a little bit on the upper side, but it can be done. This is not a problem. So yeah, this is not that bad. So we have to replace these, basically. Let's see, where is the center? Yeah, of course. Excellent. Excellent. That is actually very, very, very good. So this guy needs to go. This guy needs to go. Yeah. Okay. And now we need this guy needs to be 3 stud, and then we are good to go. There. Perfect. I like it. This is a much more elegant solution. Very, very nice. Here, of course, this is happening, yes, but this is not a big deal because, we have the bottom one that's reinforced, like this. Here we are gonna put just top we're gonna have just this guy here, and of course the whole thing is gonna be suspended on the chassis here in the rear, so it's gonna be fine. I like this very much. Thank you. That's very good. So we have, we can in the end we can even ditch the red pins to have it flat, so that the floor of the car, or floor of the boot basically, is as low as possible. So it basically, this is basically leaning on the floor of the boot or the trunk or whatever. So it's as big as possible, since we're gonna need some room for batteries, or the Buies units or whatever. They will be probably placed above the rear suspension in the trunk somewhere here. So that's good. That's good. Well, somewhere here. This is gonna be basically the rear seat here, kind of. Yeah. Okay. Back to our Bionicle options here. Let's see. Let's take a look at the Bionicle box to see what we can do. So one of the options would be we equip this guy with this. See? Then we use like something like this on the axle and call it a day. This would work. Of course, when doing this in practice, well, I don't know. Maybe I would probably glue this, simply because when you lift the car off the ground, this may disconnect sometimes, and this is gonna be, well, awkward. It's probably not necessary, and I'm not gonna do it right now, of course. But just something to keep in mind. This would be a good solution. So and on the top, I don't know yet. It's, yeah, we have enough room here. Oh, I didn't even notice the two designs. Right. I'm gonna check them out, but right now, they are not really important. The trailing arms are gonna be redesigned at one point, but first I want to have everything around them, so that when we are actually redesigning the trailing arms, that we have all of the components there. So we have the basically we have let me just yeah, I think these two. Come on. I don't know. We'll see. We'll experiment a little bit. So basically, you know that we have all of this mounted in the chassis. So we know these points are secured. This is secured. And then we can experiment. You know, then we know where the center of the wheel is, and all of that, and then we have the freedom to say, okay, let's try different swing arms. You know, but for now, I'm gonna leave it like that, because this area here where the spring attaches to, which we are going to design right now, is probably not going to change regardless of how this part of the swing arm looks, because it's independent from this setup. Okay, so what can we do? Basically, basically we have to ditch the upper stability here somehow, which is not good, but that's what it is, in order to accommodate the attachment point for a spring, I guess. Because in the original design, of course, this part is coming on top here to stabilize here, stabilize this here. But now we have this guy here. However, this is not the end of the world, because we can do the following. We can substitute this guy for this. We put this on, and then we combine both with, well, something else, I guess. So we need to replace this guy with this, and this with this, for starters. There, like this. And this guy here gets replaced as well. With the same one there, and we need something here as well. However, we need to keep in mind that we need to combine this and this. So we need to do something else here, and that something else, of course, is gonna be this guy here, and here we need to, well, first of all, we need to see if this clears the wheel at all. If it doesn't clear the wheel, then everything we're doing right now is irrelevant, basically. So let's check this out first. Okay, like this. Okay, so it does clear the wheel. There is, yeah, there's contact. Okay, this is making contact with the wheel, so we need to have this guy for a little bit further in, which would be fine. But the problem is that we get an issue here with this L piece. So we need to do some engineering in this part. See, if we move this one stud further to the front, then we have no room for this. You know, when we use this, now we need to figure out another way to mount this. Let's see, because obviously this is a very important part. It needs to be stiff. We need this, and this needs to be an L connection. This is not an option. This would be an option if we could lop off a part here. So yeah. Well, I would if I could, you see, but the beam is not suited for the application, as you can see. It is completely not suited for it. Well, which means that we need to rethink this. Well, that's what we do. Let's see, what are our other options? Now, if we want a ball here, could maybe use this? No, we cannot use this. Can we use this? Come on. Can we use this? Not really. Can we relocate this somehow? That it would perhaps be just turned differently. Problem is then that we have no way of, if we kind of use this point here, this point, and then fixate it on this, then the problem is that we have really no way of stabilizing it in this direction. But I don't want to move it kind of in this direction, because then it's the further we move it away from the wheel, the worse it gets. It needs to be as close to the wheel as possible. Okay, let's see, what about some fisting action? You know, it's a fist, whatever. It's a fist, you know, we can work with this, because we can, instead of this, we can put a ball joint here. I mean, a ball like this, and use it and this as a socket. Then what? This doesn't work. What about this? This somehow work, or it needs to be horizontal. I mean, like this. But if we have it here, it's gonna interfere with the wheel. Here we have no way of mounting it. Okay. What else is there? I mean, this would be so ideal. You know, we would have this guy here. Yeah, like this. No, something like this. But the way I see it here, it needs to be a little bit further inwards anyway. This is a little bit too tight. So maybe we do move it this way, then we can have the cake and eat it too. I think me and I'm not gonna try to pronounce your name. Sorry, but yeah, I think we had the same idea at the same time. So this would work. Yes, this would work. This would work. It does clear. See, it does clear the U-joint. Just I would like it to be further in, but it can't be because I want, well, I need to have the wheel hub, you know, when the wheel hub goes up, it pushes this up with it. If this is any other way, if I have this mounted here, then these two are gonna get separated, you know, these two are gonna get separated, and we cannot have that. So yeah, it has to be here. The downside is then I have no way of supporting it here. You know, then basically what happens is that when the spring compresses, this flexes because it's not supported here. And I have no way of supporting it here because of the flange of the U-joint. This is in the way. Well, this is allowing us to keep this, which is good. So we can definitely say, okay, this is staying. This guy here is staying, and it's definitely going to connect with this here. Something like this. I agree. It's at the moment it's not strong enough, but we are brainstorming. First issue is, of course, we need to support this here on the bottom, of course. Here. Now the problem is when the suspension load comes in, this happens, and we don't want this to happen. So we need to support this to this so that this cannot happen. The spring, of course, would be mounted here. And, you know, yeah, it's impossible for me to simulate this, but yeah, you get the gist, you know. It's not that bad, but consider that we may have to reinforce the springs. So we may have to, at one point, use 2 of these instead of just 1. Just keep this in mind. Or I would buy the Unimog ones, which are stiffer than this. But they probably won't be enough either way. So how many springs or how stiff they're gonna be, I don't know. First we need some car in the back to see how much load we need to support. So we are gonna adjust the stiffness of the springs as we go. But regardless of the stiffness of the springs, we need to make this guy better. So we don't do the same mistake as Lego did with the new buggy, of course. It's not enough that the springs on the new buggy are too stiff. I noticed when the buggy was driving on Sariel's video that the upper attachment points of the springs were also moving inwards because the springs were too stiff. They basically, the spring itself didn't compress, but the top mounts of the springs were pushed inwards. So basically, it's the front of the car is torsion suspension until the force is big enough that the springs compress, and the force is big enough only when the car is pushed down by hand, or if it falls down from a ramp. And even if it falls down from a ramp, as it's shown in Sarah's video, the compression is minimal. So yeah, but you know, this is us. We are doing things a little bit better, I guess. I hope. Let me just. Yeah, I had this mounted just right now. So, what are we going to do here? I'm gonna remove these, so I don't have to wiggle around with the whole suspension. Okay, we have to do something here. We have to support this somehow here without interfering with this. And I do see some potential of us doing this. There is some potential, but the thing is that this is also torsionally bending, so we need to support it here and somehow prevent it from, you know, it's I don't know if how you can see it. Come on, focus. Okay, so when I press this down, this is both torsionally bending and coming down here. So when we have this mounted, see, there is a possibility, depending on how we do this, that this guy here, our bionicle stuff, is never gonna touch the middle here. So what we can do, I guess, is we can jam this guy beneath it, you know, so that now this blue pin is fully supporting this guy. So right now the bending isn't possible anymore. The only thing that would be problematic is if the suspension somehow would interfere with this, but it doesn't. So I would say problem solved. It's even, if the way I see it here, and I think Christian will be able to support me with CAD. This is, you can see it on camera as well. You see this is even pushing this guy up a little bit. And I wonder if we take, for example, this here, if this would be a better socket for it. But the only thing I'm afraid of is that it's gonna prevent, gonna be a little bit too much. Oh, maybe not. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try it. Yeah, you know what this is? This is called mileage. There's really no other way for it. I've seen many solutions for bionicle sockets, and some of them involved using either lift arms, or, you know, theoretically you can make a bionicle socket with these. You know, a bionicle socket, bionicle ball joint fits very nicely in here, and you can have like 2 lift arms like this. So technically this also works, and we can also exploit this. The next step, if this doesn't work, is of course this. So let's see. Yes, the next step is going to be exactly this. Exactly. Next step is going to be 1, 2, 3. Exactly. Because this is now gonna give us the exact spacing. So even this guy here, because of the axle hole in this, is kind of putting strain on this. However, if we remove this, put back the black pin, and use these two, there, and come on, and there. There we go. No strain. Perfect socket for the bionicle. See? This is the perfect socket for the bionicle joint. Now the only fear is, of course, if in the operation of the whole thing, we're gonna encounter, well, we probably won't, because in the default setting, so when the car is kind of at right height, it'll be like this, and even at maximum, you know, maximum compression, this guy here moves very little. It's never, I mean, it's never gonna interfere. It's just enough. This ball joint allows the spring to do its thing, and it's always supported here, so it doesn't move. And this is, I think this is cool. Let's of course check for interference with the wheel. Always good to know. But no, see, there is absolutely no interference. Everything has plenty of clearance. Plenty of clearance. And this is, well, it's close enough to the wheel, you know. So I think this is perfect. Let's replicate this on the other side, and then we can start finally start marrying the rear suspension to the chassis. I'm just gonna leave this here. It's always easier when you know what you're doing. No, we don't need this right now. We do need another spring. I do need this guy. As always, this is of course not the final shape and form that our suspension is gonna take, but you have to start somewhere, and then we of course build everything around it, and then once we have the other dimensions and attachment points, we then change things again. I think it's made out of two pieces. I will let Christian tell you the part numbers. He probably knows from the CAD piece, but yeah. Of course this works in CAD. Of course. So I'll let him give you the numbers, but it's I don't even know from which set this is, but I have another one, I think. Yeah, I ordered them because they were interesting and never know where you can use them. They have a clutch in them. It's a clutch piece. I have no idea from which set there are, but well, we found one use for them. Probably should get more. You never know. Okay. Okay. There. Okay. Well, that's kind of the rear suspension. There we go. Now let me get the rest of the car. And the wheels for it. So I need to steal 2 more wheels from the Land Rover. Okay. So, okay. Now, first thing that we need to determine is the wheelbase. For this, I'm gonna consult my drawings and see what we need. Ah, no, come on. Okay, whatever. So we need 45 studs. 45 studs between the wheel centers. So this is basically 3 of these. Come on. Okay, whatever. Just gonna use these. They're gonna be enough. So 3 times 15 is 45, as far as I know. And there we go. Yeah, pretty much. That's the wheelbase of our car. Now we need to just mock up the attachment points of the rear suspension. And then we can do, well, a horrible contraption in here, just to keep everything in place. And then we're gonna work step by step to make it, well, proper, I guess. So let me see. This needs to be 5 studs. And exactly here. Okay, that's all I needed to know. So, basically what happens, So this is where we are at. Okay, let me remeasure. Nope, we need to be one stud closer. Okay, that's good to know. I missed by one stud. The wheelbase needs to be one stud less than this. Okay. Okay. One stud less. No, this is absolutely spot on. All of this geometry is perfect. That's what we wanted, and that's what we got. We worked towards this, you know. It's not by accident. The connection I'm doing right now is, you know, just temporary, so that we can appreciate the position of all of this, and then we can start doing the actual proper mounting points. But we've done more or less the same thing in the with the charger as well, and I think we need to raise this up one bit. But let me first check this. Interesting. Interesting. It was better before. I don't know what the problem is. Let me just reapply these. Yeah, this is close enough. You know what the problem is, of course. I mean, viewers of this stream know exactly the distance that's going astray here. But this is actually not a bad thing. It's gonna be a small discrepancy, but we have on stud, half a stud, on stud, half a stud. So yeah, so what I'm talking about is the rear fenders. The rear fender is gonna be aligned to the stud with the wheels. Then the rear door is gonna be half a stud offset, you know, for the gaps. Then the driver's door is going to be again on studs, and then the front fender is going to be again half a stud offset, you know, to get panel gaps between each line. So I'm happy with this. What I'm not happy with this here is the right height. Yeah, Mr. Half stud. So obviously it's hard to see from your perspective. So I'm gonna adjust things a little bit. Well, obviously the rear suspension as it is now is too low. At the very moment, the rear trailing arms are of course level with the ground. The issue is of course that the car as it is now is in the front and the rear is basically the way it's gonna be when you lift it up from the ground. So not loaded, and the loaded suspension of course is gonna settle down. So we need to design the suspension travel and everything with this in mind. So since the rear suspension is now level with the ground, we need to raise the suspension bridge so that, well, basically when the car is then on the ground, when the suspension is loaded, these are then parallel to the ground. And at the same time, another thing is the differential, of course, here, this part here is one stud lower than the rest of the car. So we need to raise the rear suspension by one stud. But the rear suspension bridge, of course, we need to raise it by one stud. And that's what we're gonna do right now. Of course, what I'm doing here is not the final form. Keep in mind, it's at the moment we're just hunting for the correct geometry. Because the next step that is gonna follow this is gonna be a horrible contraption here, just like we had with the Charger, that's gonna simulate the body, so that we can take away the struts, the stilts here, so that basically the car then rests on its own structure for the first time, and then we're gonna move from there. There we go. Yes, that's more like it. Okay, now let's find a support here for the rear of the differential. Sorry. There we go. That's enough for now. And of course, we can allow the rear suspension to be, you know, a little bit higher, like this. So when the car is being lifted, we can allow the rear suspension to go down a little bit more. Depends, of course, where the mounting points for this are gonna be. Uh, Floralandia, hello. Interesting nickname. Okay, so of course, at this stage we need to design the rest of the floor of the car. Of course, that's gonna meet the suspension bridge, and then of course we need to design a clever mechanism, well, a clever mounting point for the suspension bridge, because of course. Of course, we have the our rocker panel coming somewhere here, and I don't know. It's probably, yeah, this guy's, the front guy is not long enough, and in the middle, according to the blueprints, we need 32 studs. So we need 32 studs. These are 9er. So 3 times 9. Are they 9? Yeah, 3 times 9 is just doesn't add up. So 3 times 9 is 29. What do you mean, the BMW? There's no BMW here. 3 times something doesn't add up. If the distance here, if our distance between the fenders, between the wheels is 45, then we need 32 studs between here, and these are 9ers. So that's 29, and that's already kind of not gonna fit. Even 27, yeah. 27, and we would need 5 studs more, and there's no room. So the only explanation here is that my calculations are wrong. So yeah, my calculations are probably wrong. So I mean, 45, by the looks of it, and the proportions that I see in front of me, looks alright. That's cool, but no way that 32 studs are gonna fit in here. No way. So there must be some miscalculation on my part. No problem. We're gonna recalculate. But right now, I'm just gonna put these on. Come on. Come on. Where do I have 7? There we go. I'm just gonna put these on to see, you know, where our limitations are. Okay, so when I put this on, you see, come on, you see why I was so anal that this must not exceed the size that we set. So because first of all, this is the attachment point. These are the rocker panels. So the suspension bridge, even if we want to remove it, must not go past this. And of course, they are 11 long. Oh, okay. Then I guess it's fine. Yeah, then it's fine. Then we need two of them, this guy, and there's a new piece that Lego released with one of those new models that, you know, it's, I think it's 3 studs that can fill the gap somehow. Yeah, it's gonna be, it's, if it's 3 studs, so 3 and 7 is 10, and yeah, perfect. That's exactly the length we need. This whole thing goes 1 stud forward, and the 3 stud piece slots right in here. We have the perfect length. So solved. Yeah, okay. That's no longer of interest. So the measurements hold up, I guess. Okay. Next thing, we need to support the differential with the chassis, and we need to support the springs. Obviously, obviously, the springs are well, a problem. They're not a problem, but the thing is that here the height is well, kind of limited because the trunk is going to be here, and well, I think here are going to be the C pillars. They are going to go here, but of course the height is limited because it needs to be, I think it needs to be, let me recall the blueprints. Yeah, we have a maximum of 13 studs height, just like in the front. That's our that's the maximum we can go in height. So we have to keep that in mind. Alternatively, we need to redesign, of course, the attachment points for the springs somehow. But yeah, first measurements. First, we're gonna build a horrible contraption here, destroying all of the beautiful looks of the car by making some rulers. Well, I happen to love the EMD two-stroke engines, but right now there are really no plans to do them. And before I would do something like that, I don't know. I would do a replica of a steam engine first, because the pneumatic engines are closer to steam engines. I have. I watch serious videos and am aware that they exist. I don't have any yet, but that's gonna change with time. So, 13 studs, we say. 13. Okay. So these are too long. I know where they're used. We in Slovenia we have GM EMD locomotives in service. They are from the 80s, the classic American shape, and and I visited a train yard with them, and I love them. The sound is glorious. Um, so, no matter how I tweak it, this is too long. Not unexpected, of course. Not totally unexpected. What can we do? We need to lower the springs. That's for sure. So, what can we do? Obviously, we need to go from here to at least 2 studs lower. 2 studs lower, and we have to keep in mind that we are gonna probably use 2 of them here. So we can, design from the get-go contraption that is gonna use 2 springs. Well, Cummins engines are mostly used in trucks, mining rigs, and stuff like that. The thing is, where would we put an engine like this? I mean, this is a huge engine. Well, it would be a huge engine if we build it. Not sure where we would use it. Ah. I mean, I would love to do this, but first of all, I need to see where an engine like this would be used. Yeah, we can do this. Sorry. We can do this. We can do this. Then there would be another spring on the other side. Sorry, you cannot see it. There would be another spring on the other side. So here. And we can have like, I don't know, some connection from here to here, just to make this more stable. But yeah, there's this option. Let's see how this looks. Oh wait, I have black spring. Yeah, I have black springs. We don't have to guess. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it would be any of this. You tell me. Okay. Let's see if this is even viable. No. In this case, this seems like a better option. Much better. So how can we make this? Just 1000 RPMs with one cylinder. Just that's not very much. There. That would be our spring. We can now mount here. There we go. And it's lower and fits all of our height requirements. See, this bunch of guys is much lower than that guy. So basically 2 studs lower. And these two fit. The other guy doesn't. I'm not saying I like this. I would prefer this to be one spring. You know, especially since now that we have this in this position. The problem is that they are kind of not centered, and they can't be centered because of the position of that guy down there. And the first thing that we need to figure out is, well, because we're gonna face this right now, how to mount them on the top. Because of course, if we want to put the car on all of its wheels, well, this is what's needed. Another bionicle joint mounting point mounting solution would probably be needed. The question is only how. You know, so that all of this can move freely and find its own center, kind of. But how to do this? Just let me think for a few seconds. I'm open for suggestions, by the way. Don't be shy. So this is the height. Obviously, the springs would be mounted just below the, well, not trunk lid. This would be the parcel shelf here. Yeah, well, if you enjoy the stainless steamers or something like that, the Lego the LP Power Inline 3 is perfect for this, or the Inline 4, because the pneumatic engines are basically steam engines. They work exactly the same. The BMW, which one? The real one or the model or the Lego version? The Lego version has been disassembled. So some parts of it are probably in here. I don't know. The real one is waiting for restoration. Okay, so obviously um, I need to put another piece here. Which one? The model? Well, it does not exist at the moment. It does not exist. I have dismantled it, sadly. Um, well, I had other projects that I wanted to work on, so I needed parts, the classic stuff. But I have pictures of it, you know. There's more than enough pictures of what it was, and the model that we are gonna do in the future is gonna be better. So these are exactly in the right position. So they are exactly one stud below of what we want. Uh, we just need to find a way to mount them. Disregard this, of course, but we need to find a way to kind of, since they are, you see, they are at an angle, and because of the bionicle part down below, I cannot tilt them to be parallel with the chassis. So we need to think of some other way to do this. There's gonna be another version of it. Don't worry. I still have the real car, and I need to restore the real car again, of course, after the accident. And once the real car is done, we are gonna do a Lego version of it. And of course, keep in mind that after all of the models that are gonna precede it, and everything that we learn about building cars like this, and scaling and stuff like that, uh, the E30 that we're gonna build in, I don't know, 2 years from now, is gonna be way better than the model that I made before. Way better. Even if you think it was great, it was crap compared to what we're gonna do in 2 years. I mean, that's natural, of course, because you learn, but that's how it is. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I do remember it. Yeah. The only pieces that we did for this build were actually the LP power wheel hubs. That's the only piece that we use that is custom made. These are for a customer. I need to ship them, but yeah. Uh, of course, we made them because we don't want any slack. You know. Um, with the oh damn it, I don't have any of these anymore. I uh, turned them all into LP power wheel hubs. So yeah, these are the only ones that we manufactured. The rest is all stock Lego pieces, and if we can, we're gonna keep it stock. Just because so you can build them yourself, you know. And since I've shown how to make the wheel hubs, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to make your own, you know. And you should, you know, you should, because the Lego wheel hubs are, I mean, it's a good idea, but horrible execution. uh, People who made them didn't think far enough ahead to really, you know, it's almost as if they didn't have a plan. um, okay, back to the matter at hand here. Since this is 13, yeah, it's 13 studs. Okay. um, what could we do to mount these two? What would car designers do? I mean, don't answer that. I know what they would do. They would have a different spring tier altogether, and it would be um, very simple. But my question is, what can we do? There's a few options that I see. None of them appeal very much to me because we don't want a lot of distance between the mounting point of these two and them, of course, because everything we do here is gonna bend, of course. We want the mounting point to be, well, there, basically. Or the mount there's gonna be a parcel shelf here because there's pretty much, this is where, at least to the according to the pictures, this is where the B pillars are, exactly here between the wheels are the C pillars are here, and there's a parcel shelf basically behind the rear seats going on here. So yeah, ideally we would somehow re-engineer this so that we could turn them to be parallel, either way, parallel with the chassis. um, that would be the ideal version of this. How do we do that? That's the question. The $1,000,000 question. And it all starts with us redesigning the rear swing arms, of course. Again, it all begins and starts with them. Okay. So, again, what we want from this guy here. So, this is all fine, you know. But we want, see, we want this to be able to rotate another few degrees, so it's parallel to the wheel and the chassis. Obviously, we need to change the location of this. The ideal position, not the position that we can afford to put it in, but the ideal position would be this. This would allow us to do exactly this. But of course, in this position, we have absolutely zero chance of mounting it to anything. So this is not really an option. We could use something here, but then again, we have then the problem of this. And of course, if we take this into account, of course, it's gonna happen this if we attach it to here. So we need to attach whatever we do, we need to attach the ball joint this first. So the position we had here was good, but not good enough. I mean, ideally, this would go, you know, this would be a 90-degree piece or something. Let's take another look into the Bionicle. Okay. So what could we use here? These obviously are of no use. I mean, yeah, this guy is of no use either. These are too long, I guess. Maybe. And yeah, of course, they're, I mean, we cannot mount them. We cannot mount them to this, so that's crap. If, of course, we didn't have the gear around here, that would be possible, but like this it isn't. So it looks like we're stuck with the solution we had, sadly. I mean, I don't see any other option. These, I have no idea how to even mount them. They are huge. They are completely useless. I mean, they are absolutely too large for our purposes. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff here. You know, there's a bunch of stuff, but I mean, I don't have all of the pieces. Just the ones I saw that looked interesting and stuff like that. Which then? These are useless for our application. These are not bionicles. These are also useless for our application. These are too large again. Yeah, it looks like we're stuck with what we have, more or less. Unless, of course, we want to modify stuff. Because if we modify stuff, it's not a problem. We glue a ball joint to an axle and do whatever we want. Actually, we kinda can do this without even gluing. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, so since we have this socket here, this socket is gonna prevent whatever this is doing to move too much. In the end, we can always glue if we want. So instead of using this guy, we can use this guy here and use a 3-stud axle. Like this. Basically, we don't use an axle, we use this. Then we use this and this. Okay, we're not finished. Of course, we need to support this part, absolutely. We need to support this part. And we are going to support it. course, now we have this problem. So we need to do something about it. But what can we do? This is a tricky, very tricky part here. We would, ideally, we would have something in here to support it. It's doable. It's doable. Just let me think a little bit. So this guy obviously is too long. We need just something a little bit sticking inside here. No, I cannot mount it vertically. You know what the problem is? Why we are doing this in the first place? Because this whole contraption has to be bound to the wheel hub, you know, because the wheel hub is the one that's gonna be the wheel is lifting the wheel hub up, and if we put this on this, then you know, you see how this is attached to the wheel hub. Then this isn't really gonna work. Just a second. Yeah, that doesn't work. Axles in this part are a no-no, except when in this instance here, when we have a pin already holding it in. But even here, I'm skeptical because of this. See, we add slack when we introduce an axle. So I'm really on the fence here, you know. Yeah, kind of. You know why? Because the axis of travel here is actually not straight. You know, this travels both up and down, and it kind of changes camber and all of this. That's the problem. That's why I think we need a ball joint. Now, of course, because when this goes up and down, it also goes sideways in directions. But yeah, obviously this isn't really good. Yeah, it's less good than I thought. It's really bad. So the version that we had with this was still the strongest. By far the strongest. Yeah, this is by far the strongest version, but of course the problem is the problem here is of course that when viewed from above, we cannot get these to be straight. I mean straight, parallel to the side of the car, and that makes the mounting point here on top problematic. That's the issue. See, because of the angled axle here, I cannot angle these more. And if I want to, then of course I strain everything here and the spring wants to just pop out. And if you wonder why the spring is mounted like this, well, we probably will need two of them, and we need them to be mounted well low enough, because on top we have already limitations from the parcel shelf. So the parcel shelf is just above these, you know, like this. There's the parcel shelf. Yeah, it's here. So we are very limited in what we can do. And we need, you know, up here we need a mounting point. That's basically now the main concern. How do we do the upper mounting point? If we manage to do something here, it may simplify our mounting point here. But if we don't manage to make a better solution here, then we need to think about the mounting point here. Yeah. Oh, sorry. And that's our conundrum. I mean, there's always problems. But like everything, we are gonna solve this as well. No idea how, if you ask me. But we are. We are gonna solve this. Hear me out. Okay? Just hear me out. What if it's, you know, just an idea, let's say. It's an idea. It would kinda make the car a little less like the original, but it would give us other options. Okay? What if we don't use these and attach a push rod to everything, have another ball joint here that actuates an actuator that then pushes springs that are inside of the car. So we would have a push rod, and to this push rod, because it has some nice holes here, we can attach the anti-roll bar as well. What about that? This would solve all our problems, because with the push rod we don't really care where it's positioned. It's, you see, it's lower than the springs. We can even use a shorter one if we discover that it's gonna bump the suspension travel is gonna bump this too much into the chassis. We can use a smaller one. And what if we use that? Sierra with pushrod rear suspension. Why? I mean, why not? I've seen weirder things. So that's an idea to linger on in your minds till the next time, because this would basically, it wouldn't really affect the way the Sierra suspension works, but it would help us overcome the limitation of Lego bricks, uh, of Lego springs, where we are very limited in which springs we have and the mounting points in the springs. And the Sierra rear suspension, of course, well, it moves all over the place in several different axes regarding the springs. And this would actually solve many things for us regarding space, because the push rods, so basically the springs actuated by the push rods, would be underneath the parcel shelf as a module that would be we would able to take it out, change the springs, change the levers, and that, I mean, that would give us a lot more options. Consider it, for example, as if this would be a coilover suspension where you can adjust it indefinitely. This would be it. Yeah. So I think executive decision, the rear suspension of our car is gonna be pushrod. Okay, pushrod suspension, settled. I think we all agree that this is gonna be perfect. So we can keep this because this works really well. It's really stiff, and the push rods are gonna be the mounting points for the anti-roll bars, and they are gonna simplify everything in the rear regarding springs. So it's gonna be perfect. I'm excited. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for today. I'm really sorry that there were no streams in the past week. I was busy and tired, so I needed a few. I couldn't have streams because I was either at work or on the weekend. I was just tired. I had to take some time off to recharge. But now that we're back in action, we're gonna work through the holidays and make some great progress. Anyway, that's it for today. I see you on Wednesday. We'll see how it goes on Thursday and Friday. Probably Thursday and Friday we'll probably skip the streams because of Christmas Eves and stuff. But on Saturday and Sunday, I guess we can squeeze a stream on an afternoon, because I'm not going anywhere. I will be rested. I will probably have nothing better to do, so we can discuss your Christmas presents. Hopefully, they're gonna be Lego, and build a pushrod suspension for the Sierra. If we don't, I mean, we're gonna start with it next stream, but so yeah, that's it for today. Do remember I have a Patreon. I would be happy if you support me. Charger instructions are coming. I just didn't have the energy and time to work on them. Probably they will be probably out this year, so I have 10 days time to finish them. And yeah, I see you on Wednesday. this time for real. And that's it. Thanks for watching.